now there. So this basically is kind of like question 3. It's question 3 and question 4 kind of merged together on the one sheet. So understand that. And question 1 is, what was question 1? Definitions, right? Distinguish the difference between the following statistical terms and or symbols. Question 2 is about describe the differences and similarities between the empirical rule and Chebyshev's theorem. For those of you that are on the text message, you got that last night, right? All 4 questions, texted it out to you. Then question 3 is going to talk about mean, median, mode, standard deviation. So let's go through this process. Okay. Now, how should you do the mean, median, mode, standard deviation? Well, probably if I were you, the thing I would do first is go to my calculator. Now, some of you are like, yeah, it's a good idea. I don't have one. Okay, well, the test is on Tuesday, and I would strongly encourage you to get it. Okay? Love you. Stat edit. Now, if you have numbers there, how do you get rid of the numbers again? Go to the top, press clear, and then hit. Enter. And what button should you never press when you go to the top? Delete. Do not ever press delete. Okay? So, we're going to type these numbers in. 14, press enter. 18, press enter. 6, press enter. 10, press enter. 7, press enter. 2, 19, 21, 16, 9, 14, 7, 8. Uh-oh.
How do you do that?
How do I do what?
How do you do that?
Stat edit. Is that what you're asking me? Is how do I do that?
Yeah.
No problem. I'll just, again, show you if you want to look up. Stat, or not, edit. Okay. Now, how do I get the data? How do I get the answers? Stat, calc, one variable statistics. What do you press now? You can just press enter, or you can hit second number 1, either one. Okay, either way it's going to work. Just don't press delete on the little list, and it'll work really good. Okay. So what do we get? Well, the mean is 11.14, so find and interpret the mean. So right away, wrong button. Okay. $50,000 worth of education sitting right here in front of you, playing the minions. All right, so we are going to find and interpret the mean. So what I would say is the average employee took 11.14 days of vacation. For a whole year? You don't get 11 days of vacation? Surely you get 11 days.
Well, yeah, I guess you think about it. Those are paid days, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I get paid days off.
Get a better job.
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Okay? Yes.
Did you say the average number of vacation days?
Average number of vacation days is 11.14 as well. Okay? As long as you're putting in the number of days vacation in there, that's what you want to really strive for. Right? When we talk about interpreting, we're talking about this is the average number of days people take off. You want to get that in there. You just don't want to. 50%
of employees took less than 11.1.
That's the median. That's not the mean. So that, let me just, for the purpose of the microphone, restate the question. The question was, what if I said 50% of the student or the employees took off less than 11.14, 50% took off more than 11.14? That's actually how we interpret the median, not the mean. Okay. All right, so find and interpret the mode. I didn't look to see which value occurs the most often. Which one occurs most often? 7 and 14 are a tie? Yes. So they both show up twice, it looks like. So interpret the mode. So the mode is 7 and 14. We call this bimodal. Okay? If there's two numbers that show up equally the most, we call that bimodal. If there's 3, we call that, no, see there you go, think it's trimodal. No, it's multimodal after that. Okay, people are going, I'm going to call it trimodal. No, we just call it multimodal after that. But anyway, how do we interpret 7 and 14? Okay, the number of days, the number of vacation days, I should say, the number of vacation days taken most frequently was 7 and 14 days. Okay. Notice I didn't say most of the data is 7 or 14. That's a lie. Most of the data is not 7 or 14. That was the number that occurred most frequently, but it doesn't mean most of the data is that. Okay? Because what I see a lot of people say is most of the time people take either 7 or 14 days. That's not most of the time. That's just the number that occurs most often. There's a difference between most of the time and the number that occurs most often. Slight differences in how that works. Now, what's the median? In order to find the median, we need to scroll down. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and take a screenshot of that. And we'll post that somewhere, like right here. Okay. The median is 9.5. So here I would say 50% of the employees took less than 9.5 days, or 9.5 vacation days, if you will, and 50% took more of the employees took more than 9.5 days. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Find the standard deviation. The standard deviation is, always remember that when we talk about standard deviation, we're talking about S, right? We're not talking about sigma. This is a sample. This is a sample. So we're talking about S, not sigma. So the standard deviation in this case is 5.84. Okay. Any questions on that? That one didn't ask you to interpret. If you had to interpret, you would say on average, each person's value was about 5.84 days from the mean. On average, each person's value deviated by about 5.84 days from the mean. Okay. Any questions on that? Okay.
How do you say that?
To interpret the standard deviation, on average, each person's vacation days was 5.84 days from the mean. It's a measure of dispersion. Okay. All right, so now we're going to have to do F and G. We're going to do F and G first, and then I'm going to pause the video and talk to you about E, H, and I, and then I'll come back and work E, H, and I as well, okay? So we'll just do F and G real quick. In order to do F and G, we need this box here, so we're going to go ahead and copy that box, and we'll move it over to the next page. Okay. All right, so how do you find and interpret Q1? Well, Q1 is given to you on the calculator, so Q1 is 7. So how do you interpret 7? 25% of the employees took fewer than 7 days. Okay. And again, some people will say, less than or equal to 7, it's okay. I don't care one way or the other. But just don't say it's equal to 7. That's the number one thing you cannot say. Okay. Again, some people say, at most 7 days. That's fine. Okay. Find and interpret Q3.
How do you find that?
It's on the
How do
calculator.
you do it on the calculator?
It's stat, calc, one variable statistics. And then if you scroll down, it'd be at the bottom of the screen. The question was, how do you find it on the calculator? If you hit stat, calc, one variable statistics, it'll bring up this screen right here. Right? Does your screen look like that or no?
No, mine just says one variable statistic.
Hit enter.
Oh, okay. Good, thanks.
Okay. Now, you still won't see Q1 and Q3, so you got to press the down arrow key.
You gotta see it now.
You got it? Okay. Thank you. No, I'm serious. I mean, hey, I'd rather have you ask today than get here Tuesday and be screwed because you don't know how to use the damn calculator. Because, there's a lot of memorizing, and what's not memorizing is using the calculator. And if you can't use the calculator, there's a good chance test 1 is going real south real quick. Okay, and you're going to go like this. Good thing we got a drop test. Oh, no, you better not take it for the first one. Okay, you don't want to use it on the first one, that's for sure. All right, Q3. How do we interpret Q3? 16. So what am I going to say? 75% of the people took less than 16 days. So 75% of the employees took less than 16 days. Again, you could say less than or equal to, at most, fewer than. I'm pretty lenient with that, typically. 16 days of vacation.
You're not going to be like mad at us when we don't write complete sentences, are you?
I'm not an English professor, so I don't know I can tell a whole lot of difference between them, to be honest.
What if you said 25% more?
That's the same thing. That's an alternative. Okay? I mean, I would prefer that you do the best you can to write a complete sentence. I joke about not being able to tell. Actually, I can tell, but I've never marked it wrong because somebody didn't write a complete sentence, but
All right, I see.
typically you should have a period at the end. Okay? All right, now I'm going to, okay, so in order to do the Z-score for someone who takes 12 days of vacation, what the Z-score is going to measure, again, just to reiterate, is it's going to measure how many standard deviations a value is above the mean or below the mean. So in this case, to do a Z-score of 12, we got to know what the mean is. So the mean, I think, if I remember correctly, was on this page over here, 11.14. So we got 12 minus 11.14 divided by the standard deviation. What was the standard deviation?
5.84.
Yes, 5.84. Okay. Now, I do not encourage you all to do that in your head. I know some of you probably would want to. Okay, maybe nobody wants to. I'd use the calculator if I were you. 12 minus 11.14. Divided by 5.84. What did I do wrong? Without the parentheses, this is an entirely different problem. I did this because you should know we expect z-scores to be between what and what? -3 and 3, right? Like when you do a z-score, you ought to get typically something between -3 and 3. If you got 10, that ought to be a pretty good signal to you that something's amiss. And as a student was once told me, look, I don't have a problem figuring out when I'm wrong. I just don't know what to do to fix it. At least you should know that a value of 10 is not real. How do you fix it? You do need to put it in parentheses. Okay, so put this in parentheses. And again, if you ever do it and you get an answer that's outside -3 to 3, I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying there's a good chance. Okay. 0.147. That looks much better. Okay. So how do I interpret? How do I bless you? Go away. How do I interpret 0.147? What I would say is someone who takes 12 days of vacation is, what did we say, 0.147? 0.147 standard deviations above the mean. Okay. And the point is, by saying that, what we're really able to identify is it's not unusual for somebody to take 12 days of vacation in this data set. That would not be like, oh my gosh, you took 12 whole days? That's not uncommon. Okay, not uncommon at all. All right, how do we find P62? We're going to do 0.62 times 12. Again, we can use the calculator for that. 0.62 times 12. 7.44.
Why 12?
There's 12, I'm sorry, 14. Because I saw 12 right there, I ain't gonna lie. .62 times 14, my apologies. So 0.62 times 14. 8.68. Publix rules, right? Round everything up. So this is 9. 8.68. Every decimal gets rounded up. Now you got to count 9 places. Be careful. Don't go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. That's like a server who brings you all your drinks and then spills them on you when they get there. Nice effort. Horribly bad result. Put them in order first, then count 9 places. When you put them in order and count 9 places, what do you get? I'm running out of time. 14. If I had to interpret that, 62% of the employees took less than 14 days of vacation. Okay. Lastly, the rank of 16. How many values are less than 16? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Why did I hear 10? 10. 10 divided by 14. 71%?
Yeah.
Okay. If I had to interpret that, 71% of the employees took less than 16 days of vacation. Notice how when I interpreted every time, what did we go back to? The number of days of vacation people took. That's the major thing you want to focus on. Now the test will probably not ask you for the number of days of vacation. It'll ask you for something else. Interpret back to whatever I ask you for. Yes?
The one before that, the P62, how do you interpret that? 62%?
62% of the employees took less than 9 days of vacation.
Less than.
Okay.